Welcome to the Small Business Breakthrough Series, where every week we're interviewing small business owners that support the small business community. This week, we're bringing on a guest that has a unique take. She started something from the ground up, built a business that is about serving others that want to do the same thing, specifically around owning your own virtual assistant business. So, this goes out to those that maybe have that stay at home mom, or maybe it's the person that wants to get into a side hustle that can do some stuff for other business and to support. But she's got some unique takes, and we're going to learn more about Abby Ashley, the founder of Virtual Savvy. Abby, welcome to the show.
Hey, hey, I'm so excited to be here.
Can you give us that? We talked a little bit before the show, and I gave a little bit in the intro, but talk to me about like what is it that your business is doing and how is it serving its clients?
Yeah, for sure. I started as a virtual assistant myself. I was looking for a way to make money at home. I was actually pregnant with my second child and didn't want to send them to daycare and couldn't really afford daycare with the budget that we had at the time. And I'm like, there has to be something that I can do working at home with the skills that I have. And a friend actually suggested virtual assistants. So I scoured the internet and found out, oh my goodness, I think I could really do this. So I started a virtual assistant business, literally built a mini agency from my basement apartment with one window at the time. And it blew up into this massive thing that replaced my husband's income. And we went on to start teaching other people how to do it as well. And so that's really what I do now is I help other people start the business that changed my life in such a big way.
So talk to me a little bit about that. So it blew up and you had to go through all kinds of growing pains inside of it. You said you were able to replace your husband's income, but what was that like and what was that process like? And when I'm talking about process, I'm talking about like that nitty-gritty, because we see all the marketing material out there that says anybody can do this. And while I don't disagree that anybody can do something, they put their mind to it, within reason, what were those nuggets, those key things that made it to where you were able to be successful in starting this business?
Yeah, for sure. Because that's the stamp, that's the headline, right? Of like, look, I replaced my income. But that doesn't take you to the day to day. And the day to day of, it's not always easy waking up each day and say, I'm going to do this. And I think, especially in those beginning days, for me, a lot of it was around, okay, do I actually have the skills that small business owners want? That was one fear that I had. Am I going to have time to make this work? And then let's be honest, any business, you have to just start putting yourself out there. And I think that initial, like, oh, I don't want to self promote. I don't want to like have to tell people about what I'm doing. I don't want to, feel like anytime I'm talking to friends or family that I'm just selling to them. So I think I had a lot of those fears. And to be honest, I was also, this was not my first business, not my first radio, right? Like I had tried and honestly failed multiple other businesses. And I think I had a fear in the back of my mind. Like if I start telling people about this, is it just going to be like, oh, this is another one of Abby's things, right? Something else that she starts and doesn't finish, to be honest. So that was definitely in the back of my mind as this was all being built from the ground up.
What was the You talked a little bit about that, the um getting up and like, okay, I have to get this done. I have to do this. I have to put myself out there. Were there any uh hacks, tips, tricks that you used during that time frame to be able to get over the hurdle of creating that new habit?
Well, I'm going to be really blunt. I had a ticking time bomb inside of me because I was pregnant. So it's not something everyone can just, have. But I think that, that pulls back to a bigger reality is that your why, the pain of staying where you're at, has to actually be bigger than whatever is scaring you. Right. So for me, it was literally like, if we don't think of another source of income to feed two children now, then I'm gonna have to go find a part-time job, right? Like I had tried nannying for a while and I hated that. None of my other businesses had really taken off, and we were just at that rubber meets the road kind of place. And so for me, just knowing the all right, here's what happens if I don't if I don't make this work, right? Definitely, if I'm being honest, is what got me personally out of bed. But I think, not that everyone can recreate that exact scenario, but I do think that there's something really important about knowing why am I actually doing this, having the purpose behind the purpose. Because of course we want to make money, but there's always something behind that, right? There's always something deeper. There's like a driving force that is actually behind that, that I think that if we can tap into that and revisit it every single day. Mine was easy, right? Like it was in my stomach. It was as I'm holding my 2-year-old, my other child, like it was easy because it was so tangible. But if it's not that, if it's like a far off thing, like I need to pay off my debt, like look at your debt every single morning, right? Or, if I want to go on that vacation, I want to buy this type of house, like look at that house every single day. Okay, that's my motivation, that's where I'm going. Because if that's bigger than the fear, that's going to help you when it gets hard, because it will get hard.
When you start working with new clients and you're doing that initial interview and you're looking through, how do you see that passion that you have an immense passion there, like as you said, you were cooking it, you were cooking a new human on the inside and it was almost done and you're like, "Okay, we've gotta do this. We've gotta do this now." And how is it when you're jumping on with a new client? Because not everybody has it. A lot of people are they think that's what they want, but that you talked about the purpose behind the purpose. How do you see that in a client?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, you know, it's not for everyone. Entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, right? And so the way our programs work are a little different because anyone can join. You can go to my website right now and buy my course, right? So we don't have necessarily a pre-selection. What we do is we offer an incredibly generous like refund policy. So anyone can request a refund within 30 days if they decide this isn't for me, and we refund them, no questions asked, because we're like, we get it. Sometimes it's not the right time of life. Sometimes you get in and you're like, this isn't for me, right? And so what we do is we just keep, from the business owner's perspective, now that I'm on the training side of training other BAs, we just keep bringing the value. We meet with, like, we do group coaching calls, and so we'll meet with our students. We're encouraging them, we're all of that, but we're also like, hey, if we're pulling and it's not coming out of you at any time, you can choose, maybe this isn't. And we do have people that sometimes will do that, or they'll come into our system saying, oh, I want to be a virtual assistant. And I actually, one of our students, Jasmine, this happened to just this past month, where she came in, she did all the assignments, right? Okay, she had that drive, and then she actually had her previous employer say, hey, we see that you're doing this freelance. Like, could we actually just hire you as a W 2 employee, but completely remote to do what you're doing? And she's making like 4 times as much as she was when she worked there. And so it still got her to what we call her freedom life, right? Like that's our whole goal, is what is your freedom life? And maybe it is to make an extra $500 or $600 a month while you homeschool your kids, having 3 clients. Maybe it's building a big agency. Our top student did $2 million last year with 84 subcontractors, right? Like, and it's everything in between. Maybe this leads to the thing that's really next. And so it's really finding what is right for you, because everyone's entrepreneurial path looks totally different.
That is amazing stuff because it's very true. Because we're all different humans, so we're all going to have a different path to get from A to Z. Let's be real. You didn't start your business to feel stuck, overwhelmed, or bored out of your mind. But yet, here you are, spinning, stalled, or just chasing every shiny object just to stay motivated. And I know exactly how you feel because I used to do the same thing. But that's why I built the Momentum community for founders like you. It's for people who are ready to get serious, simplify, and build a business that actually moves forward. It uses peer accountability, and it's what I used to be able to grow my business successfully and have a great exit. Does this sound like something you need? Click the link in the description below and let's have a conversation. Enjoy the rest of the show. What would you say is that proudest moment in your business since you started it and you went through it was super stressful at the beginning and you're like, okay, we've got to get this going, we don't really have a choice, but now you have built a very thriving business. What's been the proudest moment along the way?
Oh, I have like two that I'm debating about. Okay, so I would say one was okay. So I built this business and loved it. Like once I had a business that was actually working, I was like, oh, I love entrepreneurship. This is so. I knew it was always my thing. Like I was 9 years old talking business ideas with my dad. Like this, it was always kind of in me. But once it like I got it and it was actually working, I'm like, oh, I'm hooked, right? And so. I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial. So I was pursuing that while my husband was working a government job in the DC area. He was having to drive an hour to work, an hour back. Like it was that area is just terrible. That's why we lived in a basement apartment because the cost of living, like that area is great in a lot of ways. There's a lot to see and do. I'm not trying to diss Northern Virginia, but it's a tough place to live, right? Cost of living's crazy. So anyways, so once that was going well enough, well, he started being like, maybe I could do what I'm passionate about too, right? And so he ended up getting a job in Oklahoma as a pastor, which was like one of his dreams. Okay. So we moved to Oklahoma. Amazing moment. A few months later, there was some stuff that happened, not anything crazy, but like it ended up not working out with that church, right? So we're sitting in Oklahoma. Like we just moved our family halfway across the country. Like, what do we do now? I'm from Missouri, so we decided let's move back to Missouri. But there was this moment where I was able to look at him and I was like, you don't have to like go back to work. Like you like what do you want to do? Do you want to do an like a volunteer ministry position? Do you want to work at this type of job? Do you want to like what is it that you want to do? Because it's not like there's so much pressure in that moment anyways of losing a dream job, of moving the family across the country, of all these different things. So to not have financial pressure on the back of that also, we literally we dropped our kids off at grandma's and took a trip to the Bahamas. And we like laid out all these cards of like, ooh, you could do this. We could RV across the country. We could, and we just like throughout the week, we literally like talked and prayed and just like, all right, let's do this. Right. And so that like, what a cool moment. Like, what a cool moment to like be able to just have that extra like, yes, this is hard and it doesn't make it less hard, but to not have the financial stress on top of that was a really, really big moment.
That is very, very good to be cool to be able to see how you transitioned your business, your husband into a potential different job, and then found out, wait, that doesn't work, and then to have that realization, like, oh wait, we've been so successful here, and that is really what entrepreneurship can do if it's built the right way.
Yeah.
So that comes with the big if inside of it. We've been talking about the growth of your business. You are in a industry where you're using a digital course and you're training people, and I love the fact that you add coaching into helping assist your clients to be able to build their business, because I think that's a very important element of it. But this industry is in the midst of massive growth and change at the same time. Where do you see this going in the next couple of years?
It's a great question. Well, I mean, with AI, especially now, the biggest thing is that I'm noticing is everything is still happening. It's just happening faster, right? And the ability to it's happening at a speed where is if you're not on the if you're not on the train that's going, you're already behind, right? And so, um, and that's not meant to be scary for most entrepreneurs. We're not super afraid of change. So it's an exciting thing, right? And so what we're finding is, like we're just able to create content. That's a big part of what we do. We do YouTube videos, and we're creating webinar trainings, and we're able just to do it all so much faster, right? Because there's just so many great tools out there now. So that would be one thing I would say as far as the opportunity. I don't think that this is a tapped opportunity. I will say, and this for anybody who's in the online course business, there was a huge spike that happened 2020 and most of my course creator friends had this like massive growth, and then a lot of us had a little bit of a decline after, which and that happened to us too, right? We had literally explosive growth, and then it came back down, and we're still where we're better than where we were pre-COVID times, but it came down a little bit, and a lot of people lost hope. A lot of people, like, their businesses tanked, they didn't keep their revenue numbers up, it just and they lost it. And for those of us who like held on and were like, we're going to thrive in this new environment, it's like there's so much opportunity here still. I mean, online education, people are, you know, going less and less to traditional colleges, 4-year colleges, right? People just want the tactical skills. And so I still see tremendous opportunity. I was talking to my friend Jacques the other day who owns Piano in 21 Days, right? Like he's not teaching a how to make money course. He's making ten to $20,000 a month with a course that literally just takes him to man. That's it. Like he doesn't have any employees for that business. And it's just like there's just still so much opportunity here.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree that there was definitely a kind of it was a little bit of a land grab and then that whole um like trend, right? It was very trendy to jump on because well, you were sitting at home. People didn't know what was going to happen. And some people were so afraid of the fact that there was just not going to be a they just had no idea what the future was gonna be like, and so they're
Mhm.
like, "Well, we have to know what learn or figure out what's gonna happen because we're like, we don't have a job, we don't have it." I talked with another guest here, um, recently that was in a similar situation as you. She was pregnant, and her husband got laid off right there when the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And so she's like, "Uh-oh, how do I make how do we make this work?" And was able to have that same like shocking moment of like, "Okay, we have 30 days to get this figured out," and just hit the grindstone and really went through it. But now it's the ones that are thriving that stick with it
Yep.
afterwards and continue to go and adapt and learn. And that has definitely brought some great value. Abby, it has been such a great conversation to learn about your business and the struggles and the triumphs that have come out of it. But are you ready to jump into our lightning round and wrap things up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. First question, coffee or tea?
Ooh, iced tea, hot coffee. I don't know. I drink both. I can't. I'm bad at this game.
That's okay. How about cats or dogs?
Oh, can I say neither? I'm not an
Neither,
animal person.
that's fine. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. I the answers to these are all can be all over the place. Some are neither, some are both, some are one or the other.
I'm
Like,
a
it
rule
just
breaker,
depends.
so we'll just go with it.
How about if you could grab only one weapon or item during a zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. Um, just my husband probably, because he would protect us. He would already have like an entire backpack full of all the tools we need. He's
There you
incredibly
go.
equipped.
There you go. Very, it sounds like a great person to have around. And so if you see somebody running with a backpack during a zombie apocalypse, they're probably ones you want to follow, like that, just as a heads up. How about a favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
We always say action over perfection. That's it's the number one thing in business that keeps us going. Just keep moving forward. Action over perfection.
Excellent. How about a book that has influenced your life the most?
We're going through The Six Types of Working Genius right now by Patrick Lencioni. It's rocking my world.
It is an amazing book. I think I have 4 or 5 copies on the back shelf for various reasons from events and whatnot. And love Patrick Lencioni is the reason I am the leader. He's part of the reason I became a leader and really drove to grow businesses better, from 2016 on.
Yep.
And, yeah. How about the biggest obstacle you've had to overcome and one lesson you have learned from it?
Oh my goodness. I think that the 2022 was just the hardest year of our life. We had business decline, we had sickness in our family, we had it was like everything imploded. And during that time, I pray regularly, and so I felt very like this impression that Abby, you're going to do big things, but in order to do big things, you're going to have to develop tough skin. That was my tough skin year.
There you go. If you're gonna do big things, you have to develop tough skin. That is a big lesson. Abby, again, great conversation. Thank you so much for being on the show. How can our listeners reach out if they want to learn more about the virtual savvy and what Abby Ashley's doing?
Yeah, definitely. You can check us out at thevirtualsavvy.com. We've got tons of blog articles there. We have a YouTube channel on our website. You can also hire a VA if you're at that stage in your business. So definitely check us out there.
Excellent. Abby, again, thank you so much for being on the show and check her out. It's thevirtualsavvy.com and there's 2 V's in savvy. The link to all of that information will be in the show notes below or the description if you are watching this on YouTube. And I want to thank Abby for being on the show. If you found value in this podcast and you want to learn more or hear more of the great small business breakthrough series, check it out here. It's the playlist. Till next time.